What documents do you need after you submit for an EIDL loan? That's the discussion today, and this is LALATE. Thanks for tuning in for Thursday, May 7th. As always, subscribe and like the video. A lot of big updates today, and also we have some clarifications, and we're going to answer your questions. First, again, this is an EIDL loan story, and we got another video today about the grant, answering your questions about the grant. All right, let's go back in time and cover what the EIDL loan provides and what you could be entitled to. All right, the EIDL loan can provide you up to $2 million if available. The disaster loan interest rates are incredible. They're as low as 3.75% or 2.75% for nonprofits. The repayment terms are also very good. They're up to 30 years. We're reducing the monthly cash flow burden. These are all guidelines given by SBA. There's no prepayment penalties. That means that if you go for a couple years, you don't need the money, you can turn it back in, and there's no penalties for turning it back to SBA early. It's available in all 30 states, and although interest will accrue, payments may be deferred for up to 6 months. The time and business requirement when you apply is in existence by January 31st, 2020. So don't worry if you weren't in business in 2019, so long as you're in business by January. Before we go more into the details of that, let's go back to some clarification. Yesterday, we talked about a lot of questions and gave you a lot of answers, and a lot of people were asking about their business. And in answering your questions about your business, we assumed that when you went to EIDL to apply, you applied as a business, not as an individual or sole proprietor. And so now we want to clarify the following, because some of you have asked follow-up questions. When you went to the EIDL grant application, and yes, there is one form for a grant and loan, you were asked a series of 5 questions on the first line. The first one was asking you if the applicant is an individual who operates under a sole proprietorship or as an independent contractor. You could have clicked that or not clicked it. The next question was the applicant is a business with no more than 500 employees. Now here's what's critical, and we want to clarify this for all of you. If you applied as a business with no more than 500 employees, you should have put in the business name and the business's EIN and the business's street address as reported on your tax returns, and have that address exactly correct, no version different, and that the bank account you listed is the bank account of that business. Now, if you applied as an individual who operates under a sole proprietorship or as an independent contractor, then you would have put in your social security number. You would have put in your personal bank account, and you would have put in the name that appears on your tax return and the address that appears on your tax return. For the other and the or, you don't just swap them in and out. So if the applicant was a business, you don't put in a personal social security number. Or if the applicant was an individual, you don't put in an EIN for a business. That's what we were referring to in yesterday's video. So hopefully that clarifies for you. And it has really helped a lot of you. You know, this is day 9 of the channel, 500,000 viewers. Thank you so much. And 500 comments a day. And you've mostly said that Monday's video, in which we identified to you an issue that might be holding up your EIDL payment, is the unable to verify identity issue. That where you have put in one thing when another thing was asked of you, that you identified yourself as a business but put in a personal social security number, or you identified yourself as a sole proprietor but then put in the EIN. All right. What are the qualifying terms for an EIDL loan? And a lot of people have asked that, and we're going to answer in your questions today. If you got it, and this is what SBA says, if you got an EIDL grant advance against your loan, it does not mean your loan is going to be authorized. It doesn't mean your loan is going to be written. The grant is given to you. You do not have to repay it. But the fact that you got a grant does not mean that you got a loan. Moreover, the fact that you got a grant does not mean that the amount of paperwork that you submitted, that streamlined application, is all you have to do. That's absolutely totally untrue. And we'll get to those forms that you should have ready right now because the loan officer will ask them of you. But what will disqualify you from eligibility for an EIDL loan? Really just 3 issues. 1, you're more than 60 days late on child support obligations. 2, you have a federal debt judgment against you. Or 3, you have a federal tax lien against you for more than $10,000. Now, a lot of you asked about how about credit. Well, the fact that you got approved for an EIDL grant does not mean that you'll get approved for an EIDL loan. And then one of the issues could be your credit. But what does SBA say about that credit when reviewing a loan? Here is what they say. For, quote, disaster lending purposes, satisfactory credit history is defined as history that generally shows payment to creditors as agreed upon unless otherwise justified. So generally a history of minor isolated instances of late payment is acceptable according to SBA. If the applicant can explain the lapse during the loan process, or the applicant can submit other payment records to explain during the loan process. And there you go. You know, the purpose of this channel has been to help you get where you need to go. It has not been to go back and over forms and discuss the minutia of what a form said and how a form said. It's to get you to where you're going. But a lot of you addressed questions about what that form said. And yes, the streamlined process requirement form that you filled out was one form for EIDL grant and EIDL loan. You clicked on there whether you wanted an EIDL grant and where to send the grant. It's an advance against the loan. But just because you get the grant, according to SBA, doesn't mean you're going to get a loan. Moreover, don't assume that that is all the paperwork you need to do. And here we have for you. What is the paperwork? So get a pen and paper, and we're going to give it to you. I'm going to go slow and I'm going to repeat it for you. If you're hoping to get an EIDL loan after your grant, the loan processor for SBA will ask you certain documents. This is all from SBA's website. First, SBA Form 5 or 5C. Second, SBA Form 413. Third, SBA Form 2202. And finally, IRS Form 456T. So let's go back over those. IRS Form 5 or 5C is a SBA loan application. It's on the SBA's website. The second one is SBA Form 413. What is that? That is a personal financial statement, also on the SBA's website. The third one is a schedule of liabilities for the SBA, also on the SBA's website. And the last one is a tax authorization form that's on the IRS website, Form 456T. So get those forms filled out, get them ready. If you're waiting for your EIDL loan officer to contact you, that he or she is going to ask you to have those documents ready according to the SBA's website, so get them ready. All right, so let's get to your questions, and a lot of great questions. So one person said her daughter applied for an EIDL grant on April 3rd, and she applied for one as well on the 30th. She's waited, she's spoken to two-tier reps, and finally they said they will look at it, and my question, I assume, is if there was a problem, would she have told me there was a problem? Yes and no. A lot of these, even tier 2 reps, just say, hey, tell me two things. Date you applied and state from which you applied. Apparently that is enough for them to route information to you, and they can tell you where you are in the chain of processing based upon the state and the date you applied. So they don't really have to ask for your application number. All right, Jay says he got his grant and it went into his personal bank account. And so for Jay's case, he probably applied as a sole proprietor or independent contractor. Congrats, Jay. Eileen says send some raise. Well, thank you, Eileen. She says yes. Thank you for watching the video. They confirmed they were unable to verify identity. She had to go back to them. And thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Wow, thanks. Well, thank you, Eileen, for watching. Low Country Express says, I got the $1,000 grant and the loan is still pending. Does that mean the fact that I got the grant that all the info that they need has been confirmed? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. First, the fact that you got the grant does not mean you're getting the loan, according to SBA's own website. Second, the fact that you filled out the streamlined application does not mean that is enough to get the loan. Absolutely not. SBA's website says just those initial documents I indicated for you that they absolutely need. Now, there is a whole list of other documents that they say they may also want from you. I'm not going through those in today's video, but there's a lot of documents they're going to want from you for a loan. So don't assume that streamlined application is all you need for a loan. I skipped Mike Tran. Mike says, LALATE, they ran my credit. I gave my personal checking account. He said I cannot change anything. Do you know what could happen or what I should do? Okay, so Mike, if you applied as a sole proprietor, you're fine by putting your personal bank account. But if you apply as a business, you need to call back SBA and say, I made a mistake. I applied as a business. The business name is this, and I provide my personal social security number. If you applied as a business, you need to give them the EIN and the banking account of that business. If you didn't apply to sole proprietor, you're all fine. Nothing to do. Mountain Trading has a question. Hey, LALATE, my friend applied for an EIDL grant. They've heard nothing about SBA other than the email last Saturday. What should they do in regards to the grant? Any information will help. Call SBA. It's been too long. Call SBA. Ask to be escalated. Of all the comments, and God, thank you for the comments, 99% of you have all said that when you escalated because of an error in something that you put on the form, they were able to address it and fix it. I think only one person said that they refused to fix anything for someone. And one case, someone said they didn't have to fix it. When they put no employees, they accepted as one. Robert says there was only one application for the loan. Well, that's true. It's a streamlined form, but since then you have to also get ready these other forms as addressed above. All right, Sane has a question. There are a few individuals on here that that completed the application and never seemed to watch the video and didn't know what they're going through. Shakes his head. Yes, I think what Sane is referring to is what happened on Monday. There was links going everywhere on Monday. And those links were to a website and a form, and it looked like an EIDL grant, and it looked like an SBA EIDL loan, it looked like the one you did in March, it looked like you get more money. Now, as we ran in our video, that is for agricultural businesses that may not have applied before. The window was open for them to now apply for an EIDL grant and loan if they qualify and get those in right away. And actually someone did and commented in the channel. So congrats to him for getting in, and hope to hear the update on him. D says, I don't remember giving them the option of one or the other. I've been told that the SBA officer hasn't been in process to process any application since April 21st. Well, that's fascinating, D. I don't know how D may have heard that there's only one loan officer and that he or she hasn't been in the office since April 21st. Let's hope that's not the case, but there you are. All right, finally, let's turn to one other last subject. That is actually two. First, we're going to talk about PPP, and we're going to talk about comments. PPP. So someone had dropped in one of the comments either yesterday or today that, hey, LALATE says stay away from PPP. Oh, go get a PPP. It's so easy. Just click here and you have an application process within 10 minutes. So not true. And also very misleading. Yes, you can go on to these FinBank websites and fill out a few words and submit a few letters and numbers and be processed for an application. But that doesn't do anything. That literally does nothing. You'll then be contacted by the organization days, hours later to provide information. Then you'll have to wait for more days. And then they may follow up asking for more information. If you send them an email, they won't respond. If you call them on the phone, they won't respond. If you try to find out where they're located, they don't pick up the phone. And meantime, through this entire process, a timeline is ticking. And you know what that timeline is? The timeline is mid-June. Mid-June is when you have to spend all the money of a PPP loan that is approved, put everyone back to work, and submit that documentation to the lender, and have that lender submit to SBA. And if you know what? If anything in that food chain doesn't happen, the loan is not forgiven. You're stuck on the hook, and you have to pay it back, even if you spend the money. So for that person that says you can just click on a few links and submit their name and their phone number and you're all ready to go and that is it, that is simply not true. Now, some organizations have fast turnaround times. Some have had success with PPPs. I won't put it upon them. But our advice to you is that, and we will repeat again here, is that if you do not know the lender, if the lender is giving you the shakes, if it's a company that doesn't answer the phone, is ghosting you, do you really want to deal with someone like that, who is then going to be responsible for your loan forgiveness in mid-June? Because if they act the same way in mid-June and ghost you again, and you go out and spend the money, guess what? Your loan won't be forgiven, and you'll have to pay all that money back with interest that you don't have because you spent it. That's why we're advising people against PPP loans unless they have a relationship with their lender or comfortable with their lender. Lastly, comments. We started this channel to help you, to get you through the process of confusion. And we thank you for the incredible comments that come from the bottom of your hearts. A lot of you weren't getting the money you were supposed to get because you hadn't filled out an A or when it was supposed to be a C, or a B because it was supposed to be an E. Very, very simple things. But those simple things held up thousands of dollars for you. And you've sent some wonderful comments that are just so inspiring. And that's what inspires us. Your comments help us, and they help us help you. And your comments help everyone else. Along the line, yesterday, a few of you, not you, but a few others, thought this was a channel to jump in and troll for another YouTuber. That's not the purpose of this channel. If your purpose is to come on this channel to say negative things about people, or negative comments, or disparage people, or send links to other YouTube channels, you'll be blocked. It's as simple as that. We're here to help people. We're not here for any other purpose. And so if there is a confusion or an inconsistency, hey, drop us a note and we're happy to address it for you. Or if we identify something that caused some confusion, we're here to help you. We're all here to help you, and your help for one another is what's inspired this channel. This is one of several videos for today. There's another video on EIDL Grant. So stay with LA.